Dude, like, Iron Maiden is still, like, one of the biggest bands in the world.
I wouldn't
Why
send
would you
them.
fucking send Architects? Welcome to another episode from Takedowns to Breakdowns with A&P, and today's topic is Metal World Cup.
Yeah, because the Euros just passed and the World Cup is next year. So we were thinking, you know, what bands would represent their countries if metal had a Metal World Cup?
I think some countries is really difficult.
But
there are some countries that it's really easy. So I'm going to start off, and I'm going to give you three that I think like are a no-brainer, and then we can mix and match some no-brainers with some countries that I think we're going to have a little bit more of a hard time narrowing it down. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right. So Portugal, Moonspell.
Definitely.
I don't think there's anything for us to discuss here, because you have to look not just at the quality of the band, but the popularity of the band. And if I'm Portugal and there's a Metal World Cup, who's better to send than Moonspell?
Yeah.
If you're Spain, 𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗧 𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗪𝗡𝗏, I think that's also a no-brainer to me. That band has to be there, has to represent Spain. And then if you go into France, I'm going through the European continent there. If you go into France, I think it has to be 𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗢𝗓.
𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗢𝗓, definitely.
Like, who else? France has a lot of great bands, don't get me wrong.
But 𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗢𝗓 is the most known. And if you're having a Metal World Cup, you want to pick, you know...
Like, if you're France and you don't send 𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗢𝗓, that's like you're picking your team and you don't send Mbappe.
Yeah.
Well,
actually, he had a pretty bad Euros.
I know, but overall, you have to base it on how good his performance was throughout the season. So, not to say that 𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗢𝗓 couldn't go there and shit the bed, have an amp blow up on stage or something like that. That could still happen. But you have to send 𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗢𝗓. You really do. All right. So, then moving on.
I thought you were going to say Finland in one of them.
I'm leaving Finland, Sweden, and England because I really feel like the UK, Finland, and Sweden are really hard to pick a band.
The UK...
Okay, let's go into the UK.
Okay, the UK... If we're talking about... This is now. We're not talking about, like, history. This is now. If the World Cup was now, and I would pick Architects.
Really?
Yeah.
No Iron Maiden?
What the... I'm talking about now.
Iron Maiden's... Like, what? Did they break up? That I didn't get a memo?
It's like Pandev.
What do you mean it's like Pandev? Dude, like, Iron Maiden is still, like, one of the biggest bands in the world.
I wouldn't
Why
send
would you
them.
fucking send Architects?
I wouldn't send them.
Are you kidding me?
They're like the player who goes to the World Cup and it's his last World Cup, but he sticks around in the leagues afterward. That's what I'm getting at. Iron Maiden's a very obvious one. That's why I went with Architects.
Wow, Architects. Really?
They're the young blood.
Architects, that was like sending Michael Owen, like, when he was a youngling, and leave Lampard at home. No, you still have to send Lampard, and you send Michael Owen. But if you had to pick one of the two, I'm sure some people would go with Michael Owen. But having said that, like, come on. I think when you look at the UK, when you look at the body of work, when you look at the bands that are still around, that are still active, so I'm not including Motorhead, right?
Because if we were, I would have sent...
What about Judas Priest? So you have Motorhead couldn't go because they retired. Let's just put it in soccer terms. They retired, but you still have Iron Maiden. Okay, they're not in their prime, but you know, like, come on, they're still selling out stadiums. You got Judas Priest, and you go Architects.
Whatever. I was going for the young blood. I was going for the young blood.
Wow, Architects. I don't even know what to say to that. All right. Anyways, for me, I think I would have. For me, it would be really tough. It would be between Iron Maiden and Judas Priest, but I think I would have to go with Iron Maiden. Now, Denmark has to be Volbeat.
Has to be Volbeat. You said Denmark, and my mind went blank, and I'm like, oh yeah, Volbeat's from Denmark.
Volbeat. Has to be Volbeat. Yeah. I mean, there's other bands in Denmark. It's not like they're the only show in town. But when you look at popularity, when you look at what the band has achieved globally, if you're Denmark and you're picking your band to represent you at this World Cup, I think it has to be Volbeat.
Yeah.
Belgium, I would say Aborted. I think they are one of the biggest bands from Belgium, so I'd have to say Aborted.
Norway.
Oh, fuck. Look, once again, now I'm with you. Are we talking about now, or are we talking about historically?
I think I would...
They have to still be active now.
Still have to be active now.
Oh, Norway. That's a fucking tough
I would have said
one.
Mayhem.
I think Mayhem is perhaps the one that most people
very obvious pick.
They're still around.
Exactly.
I mean, they just released an EP. They're working on another full-length album. So it's not like you're bringing a dinosaur from the past. But I think when people think of Mayhem, they think of Mayhem of the old, not necessarily the Mayhem of
the new Mayhem.
Norway is a tough one because there's so many good bands in Norway. Emperor, to me, would deserve at least to be mentioned, at least to be in the... Would definitely have to be a black metal band, let's face the facts.
Yeah.
I don't think you could... I don't think you can walk away from that. What about Immortal? A Bath?
A Bath, yeah.
I mean, at least for the law... I don't know if you're Norway, if you want to send a Bath, by the way. Like, perhaps maybe that's not your best move as a country.
You guys would go out on the group stage, but I mean, it would still be... It would still be pretty fun.
We're talking about like trying to win the damn thing, not just doing it for the lulz. So for me, my money would be with either Emperor or Mayhem. But I think from a nostalgic perspective, I think you have to go with Mayhem.
You have to go with Mayhem. Yeah.
I think you have to go with Mayhem. I'm down with that.
No, I want to talk about a tricky one would be Sweden. Because
fuck Sweden. Who do you send from Sweden?
Two that came to mind were In Flames and Sabaton.
At the Gates.
And at the Gates, there's so many.
Evergrey. Fuck, I could
keep
be here all day.
If I had to pick between all of them, it kills me. I love Sabaton so much, but I think I would want to send In Flames.
Really?
Yeah.
I think you have to send Sabaton. Once again, if you look at the size of the bands, the size of their tours, the fan base, fuck Sabaton. I was going to say Sabaton has their own festival, but so does In Flames. So, all right, so they're tied a little. They're tied there, but Sabaton has a tank.
That's true.
Like Sabaton has a tank on stage. On stage. Fuck, at the last Wacken, they had 2 stages at the same time. No other band has ever done that.
That's true. Maybe it would have to be Sabaton. I only picked In Flames because I like In Flames too.
I like In Flames too, but
I feel like Sabaton would be just the easy pick to let them go. But I feel like In Flames, you pick them and they can make it out of the group stage type of thing. Because I think there are a lot of people who also hate Sabaton. That's the thing.
But their fan base is huge.
It's pretty strong. Yeah.
So I honestly think you have to give the nod to Sabaton just based. If you look at the sizes of their tours, the places where they tour, their production in terms of the stage and everything that's happening. The last North American tour with Sabaton headlining, they sold out 98% of the venues. 98% of the venues. So you may want to throw other bands in there. I mean, there's others. Like you can even go further back in time and bring out some bands that are still alive now, but had perhaps of a following earlier on. But I honestly, I don't think you can walk away, currently, I don't think you can walk away from Sabaton from Sweden. But it's a really tough one.
Italy. Domenico Bini.
I was going to say, I apologize right now. I'm going to apologize to Flesh God Apocalypse and to Lacuna Coil.
Yeah,
but I think you have to send Nanowar of Steel.
Come on.
It doesn't get more Italian than that.
Nanowar of Steel.
Those guys would be diving all over the place, killing time. You know what I mean? Like
Norwegian reggaeton.
Fuck. I honestly, for as much as I love Flesh God Apocalypse and Lacuna Coil, if you're Italy, you gotta send Nanowar of Steel. I mean, you just have to. The latest album, Italian folk metal. I mean, it doesn't get the vinyl has the Italian colors on it.
It doesn't get more Italian than that.
Doesn't get. I mean, Topo Gigio perhaps would get more Italian than that, but besides that, I don't think you can get more Italian than Nanowar of Steel. I'm gonna throw a tough one at you. What about US?
Oh, Metallica.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's a tough one because. Fuck, the US there's so many bands. But I don't think there's any in the world. There's no bigger band than Metallica.
There's no bigger band than Metallica. You'd have to send Metallica.
I'm 100%.
I don't think they would win the thing.
I don't think they would win. I think they're like the Belgium of any tournament. They're number one ranked, but when they go there, they kind of shit the bed.
They flop out.
Yeah, they normally get eliminated either the first knockout stage or second knockout stage.
They flop out to Nanowar Steel.
They flop out to Nanowar Steel, exactly. I'm done with that. Nanowar Steel comes out of nowhere and scores a goal in the 90th minute to take them over to the next round.
Yeah.
What about Canada?
Canada. Fuck. I don't know. Unleash the Archers.
I think if you're looking at today's modern day, a band that has a huge amount of reach, that has a huge amount of following, you have to go with Unleash the Archers.
Or Cataclysm.
I think you have to give the nod. Between those two, you have to give the nod, and I'm going to explain why. You have to give the nod to Unleash the Archers. One, they won a Juno against Cataclysm. Both albums were up for a Juno. Unleash the Archers won. Their drummer has the best porn stash in the business.
That really does. That levels you up there.
And then Cataclysm, half of the guys, well, not half of the guys, all of the guys now, none of them live in Canada. They all live in the US. So this is like Qatar showing up to the World Cup with a bunch of Brazilian guys that now are Qatar citizens. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but let's face the facts. It's not really the same thing. You know what I mean?
It's Brazilian Qatar.
It's Brazilian Qatar. So if I'm going to give a Canadian band a shot, I'm with you, Unleash the Archers. Maybe Devin Townsend. Maybe.
I wouldn't want to
Because
send him.
to me, I don't think you'll ever talk to a metal guy, like a musician, and ask him for one of the biggest influences or one of the biggest artists to come out of Canada. You're always going to get Rush, and I think you're always going to get Devin Townsend. So even Rush, but I mean, they're retired, so I don't think you can put them there.
I wouldn't put them there either.
I wouldn't put them there either way. So I'm good with Unleash the Archers.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Finland.
Has to be Nightwish.
I wish.
I don't think there's any argument here to be made.
It's a very tough...
I mean, there's so many Timo Pukkis there, but like, there's only one Jari Litmanen. There's only one.
There's a lot of Herdekis and there's a lot of Pukkis.
And Shaughnessy's, there's a lot of Shaughnessy's.
There's a lot of them. There's only one Litmanen.
There's only one Litmanen.
And that's Nightwish.
And that's Nightwish.
Yeah.
I don't think we can go any other way.
We were talking about this earlier, and I said India, and I think the only one from India would be Bloodywood.
That's for me.
I would want to pick the other band.
Aragoya?
Yeah, them.
But I think you have to go with Bloodywood. They're the biggest one.
The biggest one.
They're the biggest one. So, but going back to Nightwish, I think if Children of Bodom were still together, if Alexi was still alive, I think Children of Bodom would give them a run for their money.
They definitely would, yeah.
I think they would give them a run for their money. But because that's not an option anymore, I think you have to go to Nightwish. And Nightwish is not even heads and shoulders. It's like a full ladder ahead of
everyone else.
Like who would you rather, if you're Finland, who would you rather send instead of Nightwish? I don't think there's even option number 2.
No.
Like there's Nightwish and then there's like nobody else.
Yeah, and then there's like Korpiklani and then
but those
are like
they're good options.
Those are good options because not only is like it's representing your country in a very
those are good options,
way.
But they're only good options if Nightwish doesn't exist.
That's true.
Because they're selling out stadiums. They're such a big band worldwide. I mean,
speaking of selling out stadiums, Germany.
Fuck, Germany is a tough one too. I mean, I think the logical option is Rammstein.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I would pick them though.
I think they're the logical one though.
I love Eskimo Callboy, but I also understand that they could not go and represent Germany at a World Cup.
I'd love them.
Or we butter the bread with butter.
Send them both as like a little package. You know,
it's a combo.
Yeah.
But I mean, like,
and then like they're top of the group, and like Nanowar Steel is right.
The problem with Germany is the actual problem with Germany, with the national team right now, is that you need the new blood to kind of come in and start to create their own space and their own identity. Right? It's time for they already got rid of the Schweinsteigers. They already got rid of the Podolskis. They already got rid of those guys. But they're still like Mueller is still there. Hummels is still there. There's still some dinosaurs there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's the same problem that we have when you pick the band, because you got Lord of the Lost. You got We Butter the Bread with Butter. We got Eskimo Call. These are the young talents
that you need. Yeah. And that was my problem with the England one, is that.
Oh, you want to pick like the emerging talent versus like the established, like veteran.
Exactly.
Veteran. Okay, so for England you picked the Architects, and now for Germany you're going with Rammstein?
I said Rammstein because they're a very obvious pick.
In terms of size and name?
Exactly. If I had a choice other than them, I would probably pick Eskimo Callboy or We Butter the Bread.
We butter the bread with butter.
Butter the bread with butter. Even Lord of the Lost are very close. The thing is, Germany has a lot of.
What about Halloween?
Halloween. There's so many bands from Germany that you can pick. The problem is Rammstein is so big that you know that if they were
Halloween is a very good choice though.
That would be a very good choice to be. You know.
I mean, that one would be ahead of also the other three that we just mentioned.
Yeah, because they're also like really big compared to also. They would be the one fighting with Rammstein to get that.
I think so too. It would be a very hard choice, but once again, when it comes down to if you're looking at size, worldwide appeal, and Halloween is like, I think those two are like neck and neck.
Yeah.
It's like Hummels and Mueller fighting for who's going to be the captain. You know, like they both kind of deserve the armband, but only one of them can wear it.
Well, yeah, but
none of them do.
Neuer wears it.
So there you go. I honestly, I don't get the armband on a goalie. I have nothing against the goalies, but I think the armband needs to be on a field player so that he can talk to the referee and whatever. That's just my take on it.
I think it's good for the goalie though, because he also conducts from.
I know, but he doesn't have a complete vision of what's happening in front of him, and he's not going to leave his net to go argue a penalty call on the other side.
Have you seen him play? The guy goes into midfield all the time.
These guys, he's overrated. But anyways, are we going with Rammstein?
I guess we'll go with Rammstein.
Okay, yeah. Rammstein. What about Australia?
Oh, Aussie.
No, not Aussie. Aussie. You mean Aussie like Aussies? They're Aussies.
They're Aussies.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant Ozzy Osbourne. I was like, fuck, he's not Australian.
No, not Aussie. I thought you were going to say Aussie Men Reviews.
No, he cannot be there. He would be probably the commentator. He'd be the VAR.
Definitely. There's a band that's coming to mind. I just can't remember their name.
For me, it would be 𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗧𝗔𝗞𝗘𝗗𝗢𝗪. I mean, I don't think there's is there a bigger band in Australia than 𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗧𝗔𝗞𝗘𝗗𝗢𝗪?
They didn't come to mind. Another band came to mind, but I can't remember their name.
There's not Aversion's Crown would be another one, but they're not as big as 𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗧𝗔𝗞𝗘𝗗𝗢𝗪. I think if you're picking an Australian metal band, you kind of have to go with 𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗧𝗔𝗞𝗘𝗗𝗢𝗪. I honestly cannot think of another one.
That's probably, yeah.
That I would put 12-Foot Ninja?
No.
I think you have to put...
You have to put 𝗙𝗥𝗢𝗧𝗔𝗞𝗘𝗗𝗢𝗪. And then, like,
New Zealand, you have to... Alien Weaponry. I don't think there's even an argument to be made there. That's the absolute logical choice when it comes to that.
A lot of countries do have the band that... Obviously, it's the obvious choice.
Yeah, some countries are easier to pick a band because there's one that really jumps out ahead of everybody else. Like when I said Portugal with Moonspell, it's not to say that there's no other good band in Portugal or Brujeria with Mexico, but I was going to say Angelus Apátrida in Spain, not to say that there's no other good bands in Spain. To me, it's just those two are just so head and shoulders over everybody else because of the popularity, not just the popularity within their country, but the popularity outside of their country, that you honestly, how do you pick anybody else? You can't.
Japan.
Fuck, who do you pick from Japan?
Giza.
Oh, I was going to say Maximum the Hormone.
No. Fuck. Those guys are good, but I wouldn't pick them.
Really? I think they're bigger.
They are the bigger band, but
even Baby Metal, wouldn't Baby Metal even be bigger? That would be even bigger.
Baby Metal still together?
Yeah, they're still together. So I think you gotta go.
You have to go with one of them, but I'm sad.
Go Baby Metal.
Yeah, I think you would have to go. Baby Metal is the one that doesn't just get to metal people; it gets to everyone.
Everyone. So I think you would have to go with Baby Metal.
That sucks though. You know my love for Giza.
I know, but we gotta stay composed here.
Yeah, we
gotta stay in frame.
Neutral.
We gotta stay neutral. We gotta stay in frame. So I think Japan has to be Baby Metal. I don't think you can walk. Russia, last one. Russia.
I was gonna say we haven't touched South America yet, but
okay, two more.
Brazil.
Let's Brazil. Okay, Brazil, Ukraine, and then we finish off with Russia. How's that?
Ukraine is so easy though.
Ukraine is Ginger, but I gotta give Ginger a shout out. Okay. Come on, they're my bros, so I gotta give Ginger a shout out. Okay, Brazil.
I was gonna ask you Brazil because I'm not.
Has to be Sepultura.
Yeah, but then we're talking about now.
Sepultura.
Yeah.
For what they've done in the past, Sepultura is like if Ronaldinho decided that he wanted to come back. Fuck, I would still put him on my fucking team now. You know what? Not Fat Ronaldo, but Ronaldinho. The fucking guy can still he can still move.
That's true.
It's the equivalent of Cristiano Ronaldo playing at the age of 39 in the next Euro if he wanted to. I think he could still do it. Some guys are like timeless.
They're built different.
And Sepultura, for everything that they've done in the past, for everything that they're still doing now, I don't think the metal in Brazil wouldn't be what it is without them. And our understanding of Brazilian metal, even the culture, wouldn't be what we know to be without Sepultura. So I don't think there's it's as easy as saying Ginger for Ukraine.
Yeah,
it's just as easy.
And now Russia.
I think I think I know where you're going to go, but they're disqualified. Not for steroids, but you're going to go with Slaughter to Prevail.
Oh no, because I already know they're not Russian.
Because they're not Russian.
They're just Alex Terrible.
So they only have so that doesn't count.
That doesn't count.
So that doesn't count. So who are you going to go with?
Radio Tupac. Or Radio Tapak is.
We
call him Tupac, but it's Radio Tapak.
So that's who you would send to represent Russia?
Dude,
Motherland?
He goes there and he does a bunch of covers and it'll just be fun time.
But see, I would go with Arcona.
Really?
I would go with Arcona as my representative.
I think they would also...
Because they bring a little bit of the Russian culture into the forefront. Folk metal band. They have their own material. They're not there just doing covers. They're not a flash in the pan. Let's put it that way.
If I was also going to pick a cover, I would pick those Russian guys who do the balalaika stuff. Then
I just think if you took Radio Tapak there, he probably would get bounced out at the group stages. Russia got bounced out at the group stages anyways.
No. It would be like the World Cup 2018 where they make it into the round of 16 and they knock out Spain.
No, I think it would be like the World Cup in the U.S., which was 1990 in the U.S., when Russia got eliminated, but they won the last group stage game with, I think it was 4 goals by Radchenko. I think he scored 4 or 5, or 6 maybe. I know he became the best goal scorer of the tournament in one game. He scored all the goals, and the team still bounced out, if I remember correctly, if my footy history is correct. That guy had one game like out of his mind. He was out of his mind for one game. That was it. That was it.
And then he went back to Russia and they're like, what the fuck? You couldn't do this throughout the other games?
You couldn't spread those goals throughout the other games. We would have made it through. But hey, it wasn't to be.
It wasn't meant to be.
It wasn't to be had. So, anyways, I think we've covered everybody. I mean, there's some countries we left out, but like I don't know many battle bands from some other countries. So
South America is very dry.
Oh, Poland.
Oh, Poland.
Let's give Poland a shout out. One more, Poland. Has to be Behemoth.
Behemoth, yeah.
Vader maybe. I don't know which one I would go with, Vader or Behemoth. They're neck and neck. But I think I have to give Behemoth a little bit of an edge.
Yeah.
Between those two. But yeah, I think we need to end there. Otherwise, this video is going to be like 40 minutes long.
Batushka, but I don't remember.
I don't know if they're from Poland actually. I don't know where they're from. I don't know where they're from.
There's like 3 of them too. Like
yeah, they're popping out everywhere. It's like SARS outbreaks. They're popping out everywhere. So like it's kind of hard to keep track. Anyways, let us know if the bands that we picked to represent those countries would be the bands you would take to represent those countries. And what band, if you're in charge of your country, what band would you send to represent your own nation?
Yeah.
Because that's kind of interesting to see where you would go with your own country if you're in charge of putting that together. I think some bands you can't walk away from it. You just... It is what it is.
Yeah.
But I think
it would be kind of like Eurovision, the whole tournament, where you vote for the performance, but it wouldn't be like Eurovision where they only do one song throughout the whole thing. It would be like a different song throughout
like the Masked Singer, where you sing a different song every
week. Because I feel like that would bring... That's my problem with Eurovision. It's the same song.
I know, it gets stale by the time you get to the end.
It gets stale by the third time. I feel like the people voting are like, fuck it, I voted for it the first time, might as well vote for it now.
Yeah.
I think if you mix it up with different songs each time... It shows a different side of your band.
But instead of Eurovision, it's World Vision, because it would be the whole world.
It would be the whole world, yeah.
It would be metal.
And it would all be metal.
All right, we're done with that. All right, guys, let us know in the comment section your thoughts on this video, on the bands that you would send to represent your country, and we will see you at the next video. Take care.
See ya.